out this cool cake. It's for my dad's 70th birthday because he loves everything 1950s, cafe style, all that kind of stuff. He has quite a few of these hiding out in his garage, and I know that he's going to be super surprised when we show up with this baby as his cake. So stick around, we'll show you exactly how we make it out of modelling chocolate, cake and gumballs. Now the first step to creating this cake is to work on the cake board itself. I've gone for a 10-inch square board and I've rolled out some white and some black fondant that have Tylose in them and cut them into cubes that are 2 inches each. Then I've just attached them with some sugar glue. And now we have a gorgeous checkerboard pattern to our cake board. Now I've also gone ahead and baked 3 cakes to work with. I used 2 batches of our white chocolate mud cake recipe, and I've baked a 7-inch and 2 6-inch rounds. I've leveled them all off to 50 millimeters, which is 2 inches exactly, and I've also got a 5-inch cake plate and a 7-inch cake plate, and we're going to use these to help get the variation between the top and the base of our gumball machine. So taking our 7-inch cake plate, we're going to attach some ganache, apply a little ganache to the base of the cake as well, and press that down nice and firmly. Now we're going to create a layer of ganache and then attach one of our 6-inch cakes onto the top. Place our final cake on top, and then we're going to allow this to set up in the fridge for about 10 to 20 minutes. Now that it's set up nice and firm, I'm going to take our 5-inch cake board and place it on top, and we're going to use this as a template. And we're basically going to aim to go from our 5-inch, working all the way down to our 7-inch cake. Taking a sharp bread knife and just cutting down the sides. And when you're cutting, you're aiming to just have a small section of the cake board that you can see. And once we've made our way all the way around, we're going to flip it over. Do the same to this side, remembering to come in so you can see the board just a touch. And now we're just going to let this set up for another 10 minutes in the fridge. And now with our cake nice and firm, we're ready to start doing a coat of ganache over the entire cake. I'm going to take my 5-inch round, just my cake plate, pop it there, and we're going to ganache between these two, just like we always do. And once you have a good amount all over it, just taking a scraper, we're going to scrape it back to those 2 boards. And if there's any sections that just need a little bit extra, you can just come back, fill those in. And now we simply remove that top plate and do a nice coating on the top of the cake. Clean up the edges one last time. Now I'm just coming along and trimming off that top edge. And now we're going to make our cutout. So what we want to do is come up the cake by about 2.5 inches and just make a mark there. Score a little line and just coming over and marking out 2 inches on the top. Again, marking down to 2.5 and then joining our lines. Come up on the cake by about 1/2 inch and just cut straight down. Cutting at the base, scoring a line on top. And then cutting down deeper. And then just removing that section. And then just puttying with ganache. And then when you're happy with your ganache, pop it in the fridge for another 10 minutes. I know that there's a lot of trips, but we want to make sure that this is nice and firm before we put our layer of modelling chocolate on top. Now I've made my own red modelling chocolate, and we're just going to roll it out enough to do the sides of the cake. You can cover this cake from top down in fondant if you would prefer, but I just love the taste of modelling chocolate, and I find it's really easy to work with when you need to cut shapes out. Now for this size cake, I'm going to need it to be at least 22 inches long and over 6 1/4 inches high. Now I'm just rubbing a tiny amount of cornstarch onto this, just so that it won't be quite as sticky to work with. I'm taking a rolling pin, I'm just gently rolling it over, trying not to press too hard. And just starting at the back, making sure that it stays nice and high. Okay, when we get to the end, I'm just going to make an impression of where that seam is. And slice down with a craft knife. Tear that away and just seal it up and smooth it down. Make sure it's attached completely before you start working anywhere else. And then we're just going to start to guide it into this crevice. Pressing down until you can feel the cake, and doing the same up the sides. And lastly, just using a boning tool to make sure that it's really attached. Don't worry if it cracks or if you get any sections that tear off, because the entire thing will be covered. And then you just want to come around and trim off this top edge. And now I'm just using a 5-inch cake pan and using that as a template for the top of this cake. And just placing it on top, sealing up and joining those two edges together. And then just cutting away this excess piece. So while our cake is just resting for a moment, I've rolled out a little bit more red modelling chocolate, and I've made it a little bit thicker this time, and we're going to cut out using a 4-inch cake pan, and we're going to just cut around here, blunt all of our edges, and then I'm going to take an 8-inch ball pan and just place it on top, pressing down to get that slight shape. Roll a little ball with our excess, give it a slight squish, and once you're happy with it, attach it with a bit of sugar glue. And now before we get too much further ahead, I want to pop the cake onto its board so that we can run the dowels through and have everything ready before we start adding our final touches. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of royal icing to the board. Now checking where the pressure is going to be. And now it's time to work on all the decorations. So the first thing I'm making is the black panel that goes at the front, and that's where the gumballs would come out of. So attaching that with some sugar glue, and then rolling out half an oval shape, and that's going to be where the gumballs land. I'm trimming this up with a side panel as well, and the great thing is modelling chocolate is going to sit perfectly upright and is great for this. Roll out a sausage, and you're going to place this all the way around your cake. Again, attaching with some sugar glue, and just go ahead and trim it up with a craft knife. Roll another sausage, and this is going to go around the edge of the lid. Now you want to roll out 2 different sizes of stripe. I'm using a multi-ribbon cutter to make some of them 1/2 inch and some of them 1.5 inches. You're going to start by adding the thinner stripes to the very front of the cake, attaching with sugar glue, and just press them really gently against the cake. Trim up the edge with a craft knife and smooth down. Now I'm adding one of the thicker stripes next to this. And then I'm switching to the back, and I'm doing that so that I can make sure that everything's nice and even. I have a thin stripe and then a thick stripe followed by a final thin stripe. And now that we're working on the silver part, I've rolled out some grey modelling chocolate, and I'm going to use a cookie impression mat just to make some really nice swirls. If you don't have something like this, then you can always go ahead and pipe it, or if you think of something else that you think would be great for doing this texture, leave some comments below with some of the ideas. I'm always a big fan of using what you have because already you have enough cake decorating tools. So I'm going to use this and just lightly press it down, and that will give us a gorgeous impression. So we'll just square it up. And just attach with some sugar glue. Cutting out a little semicircle and attaching that to the base. Now I'm going to roll out some circles. I need a large grey one as well as a small black and a small grey. Cutting those little ones in half and then attach all of them with sugar glue. And now we're going to make our little turning handle. Roll out a little sausage thicker at the edges, squeeze one way, turn it over and squeeze it the other way. I was really surprised at how fast and easy that was to make. Attaching with some sugar glue and then a little dot in the center. Finally, we're going to roll out one last sausage, and this is to go around the base of your bowl. Be really gentle, don't press it into the glass too much because you do want to take off the glass in order to transport this cake. So now we just need to add our gumballs. Nobody saw that. Grab our lid and we can pop a single gumball in there. And as a final finishing touch, I'm adding a little bit of moonstone luster dust mixed with a little bit of clear alcohol onto all of the grey just to glitz it up and make it look like shiny silver metal. And there you go guys, we have our gumball cake creation. I've had so much fun making this cake for my dad. It's a huge deal. He's turning 70. He loves everything 1950s and I know he's going to get a kick out of this. I would love it if you would leave some comments below for some other ideas for 1950s style creations, and we may just make some more. As always, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up if you like our lessons, and remember to hashtag CakeStyle in your creations.